Hello. I can see there's one person looking at me. I'm glad it said Sophie is watching. That's always useful. Okay, Sophie, so when you're ready, I'm ready. So as soon as you want... Hello, Catherine. So as soon as you want me to start, Sophie, we will. I'm conscious that for some people, it might be a newer thing. Hello, Diane. In my experience, it's great if you're watching Facebook Live if you say hello. Hello, Anne. Anna, wave. Hello. At the risk of repeating myself, I'm tempted to start with the introduction now, although we could leave it 30 seconds or so, to see if anyone else is going to join us, because I'm conscious that if I say the same thing twice to you, you might start switching off. That's great, Diane. I've also got a plate, so I'll be able to show you the moves with the plate. Ah, two Sophies, both talking at the same time. Not confusing much. Hello. Okay, so I've got two screens. One is into Sophie's group and one is into my group, because the people who do my workouts, they always feel like they're missing out if I do something and they're not there. So I said to them that I would post the video into my group at the same time, just so that they can do it as well. Okay, so I'm ready to go, Sophie. So I think we'll get ready to set up. Excellent, Sophie. I've also got a kettlebell. So one of the things that I'll do before we start the workout proper is I'll show the moves on the plate and the kettlebell, just so those of you who've got that equipment can feel confident that the workout is still for you. So Sophie asked me to do a couple of videos and we did them. We focused on some squat lunge movements and then some row and pull movements. And then we did one where we put a few of them together. So what I do before we start, just for the benefit of anybody who maybe didn't see those videos or didn't quite understand something, I'll show the moves again, give you opportunity to ask any questions live, and I'll answer them directly to you. And then when we're good to go, we'll have a brief warm-up, focus on some of the movements we're going to do, and then we'll get into the workout proper. Yeah, the ice cream van. There's hardly any kids live around where we live, but he comes around every single night. I'm sure he's just tempting me. He's tempting me, but it's not a Friday, so I'm not having one. Okay, so my name's Brendan. I'm a group fitness instructor and a personal trainer. Some of you understand that I said before I don't do body pump as an instructor, but I've done it as a participant loads of times. Sometimes I love it, sometimes I don't. Part of it is depending on what kind of body pump we do. Sometimes people do the hard moves, i.e. legs, back, chest, and sometimes they make me sit there and do lunges forever, and I hate them. I absolutely hate the lunges in body pump, they kill me. So, as well as being a group fitness instructor, I'm a personal trainer, and what I really enjoy doing is seeing people improve themselves from lifting weights, because you don't need to have a particularly heavy weight to change the muscles on the body. And there's something really empowering about lifting a weight that you perhaps thought you couldn't lift for a number of times, and then walking away thinking, yeah, that was great, I really enjoyed that. It's not for everybody, weight training, but there's so many different kinds of formats with weight training that generally there is one that works for somebody. So today we're going to focus on 6 basic movements with an opportunity to make the movements a little bit harder, or if they're not for you, to make them slightly easier. So we've got 4 rounds, and each round has got what we call 6 sets. So a set is a duration of time, and we've got a set rest each time. The idea is that each of us will work at our own speed, and as we've got our own equipment, our own weight and our own speed, it makes the workout individual to you, rather than you staying with me on the screen or thinking you've got to stay with the beat of the music. Sometimes it's tempting when we're in a class environment to try and stay with the pace of somebody else, which would mean that you're not actually training yourself then, but you're focused on how many you're doing. And sometimes that's not what we need, particularly when we're getting used to a workout. So the music that we'll have today, it's got the phrases, so it'll have a countdown to start, it'll have a halfway marker and a countdown to end, followed by the recovery and then go again. And the idea behind this, it just gives us an opportunity to know where we are in the workout all the time. So it's always going to be 40 seconds of work, always going to be 20 seconds of recovery, and there's always going to be 45 seconds rest between the sets. If 40 seconds is too much, you need to stop, that's fine. If 20 seconds is too much of a recovery, you can start straight away when the countdown comes back in. That'll give you an extra 4 or 5 seconds work, which might be all you need. Okay, it says 14 people live now, and the ice cream van's gone, so I'll show you the moves that we're going to do, and I'll start with my plate. So I'm going to start with the plate. Hold the plate 2 hands, and it's up to the chest, feet hip distance apart, and elbows not out wide, but in towards the rib, and then slightly back. If you do that, you'll find that you're going to squeeze your tummy, and you flatten your back. And then from here, feet slightly wider than hip, and then down and stand. So if I talk about a squat today, this is you with the plate. If I talk about a front squat, the bar would be here, and your plate is here anyway. If I talk about a back squat, the barbell would be here, but with the plate, keep it on the front. Same thing with the kettlebell. Kettlebell, you've got the advantage of a handle. So you can either hold the handle towards your chest, or you can hold the flat part towards your chest. It's the same thing here. Elbows in, slightly back, squatting up and down. When we talk about lunging, we want to keep the feet hip distance apart, and we're going to step back. And as we step back, keep the feet in the same position and come down and then together. So sometimes with the kettlebell, it can get a bit heavy and tip you forward. If that, you can hold it to one side and you can slide your foot back and lower, keeping the kettlebell here. If your plate's got handles like mine, you can do the same thing, down and stand. What helps looking at the screen is looking at the very top when we lunge, and that keeps us up and stops us from tipping down. So, in the rowing movements with the kettlebell, you want to hold the handles so you've got a gap between the thumbs, and then as you pull your bum back and down, tight there, and then it's elbows into the belly. Depending on the weight, you might need to use 2 hands, or you may need to have 1 hand and pull like so, and then change when it feels good to you. Same thing with the plate. You want to imagine the plate is going to touch the belly button, and we use it to come at an angle rather than it being straight up. If we talk about an upright row or a high pull with the plate, just do a normal row into the belly. And if we're using the kettlebell, we can use the kettlebell in, narrow row, up, high pull. So you notice my feet move to there. Always want to imagine that if you're bringing a weight up to your chest, it comes no higher than where your heart rate monitor would be. And that stops us from hurting the shoulder. Has anyone got any questions, or shall we get into the warm-up and ready to go? Yes, I think so. Okay, so I've got my barbell here. We're not going to use the barbell in the warm-up as such. We're just going to do some bodyweight movements and then get ready to go. We'll put a little bit of music on. If you could tell me if it's too loud or not loud enough, and then I'll know to adjust it before we start. So if you could let me know, that would be great. Ideally, I'm not going to talk over the music too loud, but at the same time, you can still hear me. Thanks, Diane, that's great. How's the music? More? Too much? Okay? Okay, so here we go. Feet apart, chest is up. First movement, using the body weight to squat. So suck the belly, look slightly forward, and then down and up. As you sit, push the knees out, but look slightly forward. You might go lower than me. You might not go as low. It's okay. New movement. As we stand, push the arms up. As we sit, elbows down. So we're compressing, we're standing strong. Two more here. That's one here. Arms back in. Feet slightly closer. Step back. Lower down. Step together. Step back. Lower down. Together. In our own time. We call these rear lunges because we're stepping backwards and we're bending both knees at the same time. New movement coming. We're going to go. Feet hip distance. Step wide. Lower. Step. Feet together. Other side. So step out. Drop the bum. Step together. Two more. We're going to change it now slightly. We're going to do two movements. We're going to lower, touch the floor, and release. Lower, touch the floor. If you can, tiptoes, and you stand. So legs in the body.
Don't stop, we gon' make the gang go. Don't stop, we gon' make the gang go.
Stop. Hands slightly wider than the shoulder. Come to knees on toes.
Don't stop, we gon' make the gang go.
Down, lower, and push.
I'm back at him, I'm back strong.
If you can,
Back strong.
squeeze bum, squeeze top, pull down, down and up.
I'm back at him, I'm back strong.
Last one, stand up, and then squat
Back
and jump.
strong.
How are we doing? Are we ready to go? Someone say yes. Yes. Okay, that running thing. I'm too old for that game. Okay, so now's a good time for a drink. If you grab yourself a drink, grab yourself a white, and we'll get ready for the weights. So, we're going to do what's called a drop set. So the idea here is that we're going to get good at the movement, and then when we hit the drop set, start with a harder movement, reduce to the easier movement for the duration of the time. So the first 6 rounds, we're going to do the lower movement. Second 6 rounds, just the harder movement. And then rounds 3 and 4, we're going to try start harder and reduce down to lower. The music's quite quick, so it's not body attack, it's not high intensity interval training, we're training at our own pace here. Don't worry about the music's speed, just focus on your movement. So if we're good to go, get your bar, hands slightly wider than the hips, and we're going to bring the bar up to our front chest, like so. First movement for 40 seconds is lower to squat to stand. Lower to squat to stand. On the 1.
Get ready. Your workout begins in 4, 3, 2, 1.
Sit hips back and down, and then stand, squeezing the top.
Halfway there.
Try not to grab the bar with your arms, just have your fingers on it, bar on the collarbones.
Take a 20-second rest. In 4, 3, 2,
And rest. I'm going to put the bar onto the back now, and we're going to lunge. So what works for me is hands wide, feet apart, step back,
get ready.
lower, stand, alternate leg.
3, 2, 1.
Looking forward, bending both knees same time, pushing the front heel, stand.
Halfway there.
What I'm doing here, imagine I'm walking forwards, pushing into the heel, in front of the leg.
Take a 20-second rest. In 4, 3, 2, 1.
And rest. Second movement, third movement, hands wide, shoulders up and back. I'm going to tip the bum, bring the bar to my rib, 2,
Get ready.
reset.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Sit down, bar to rib, bar to knee, rib, knee, and then push the hips forward, reset, slide hips back. 1, 2, squeeze the hips, slide back.
Halfway there.
So from the side, shoulders back, eyes moving forward, forward.
Take a 20-second rest. In 4, 3, 2, 1.
And rest. I'm going to go to the leg movements now. So hands in, up to the chest, over to the back. We're going to have a squat, stand, half
Get
raise.
ready. 4, 3, 2, 1.
So as I lower, the knees are wide. As I stand, come up, 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 up. Lift the heels, push into the floor.
Halfway there.
So we're training the whole of the leg, normal squat position. Main difference is we come up, and we do one move onto the balls of the feet.
Take a 20-second rest. In 4, 3, 2, 1.
Rest. So we're going to squat again. This time, just down and up, nothing else. Just down and up.
Get
You
ready.
good?
4, 3, 2, 1.
As you stand up, imagine you're on the beach. Everyone's watching you, so you're being the best you can be. Looking forward, sitting down, standing up. The knees got a tendency to wobble. Imagine you're stretching the band that you've got. Stretching the band, sitting, as you stand, with the band stretched out.
Take a 20-second rest. In 4, 3, 2, 1.
And rest. Final movement before the rest, 2 parts. Hands are slightly outside of hips. Shrug and roll. We've got the
Get
hang,
ready.
clean,
4, 3, 2, 1.
so you're trying to keep the bar tight to the belly. And as you come up, it's almost a violent movement, belly, the hip, catch, move forward. So you're training the back, the bum, and the legs.
Take a 45
This is one more.
in 4, 3, 2, 1.
So first round is done. Second round is the same base move. We're going to add a different movement as well to make it slightly harder. Remember here, it's your workout. So what you need to do, you do. The first one, if you can, bar to the front, squat, press as we stand overhead. If you're good to go, bar up. Good to go?
Your training continues in 4, 3, 2, 1.
We spoke about the compress and the drive. So the drive comes from the heels and the knuckles. The compress comes from the belly.
Halfway there.
You find, bar might get too heavy here, stand up.
Take a 20-second rest in 4, 3, 2, 1.
2 moves. We went high. This time we're coming from low. The hang clean, the catch, lunge, each leg.
Get ready.
With the kettlebell, same thing.
2, 1.
Catch, 1 and 2. If you're with the plate, come up, catch, 1, 2.
Halfway there.
If you find you're losing it here, put the bar down, just the body weight is okay. Push the hip,
Take a 20-second rest in 4, 3, 2, 1.
staying with training the back and the butt. Hands wide, chest up, 2 row,
Get ready.
1, pull to the chest.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Come to the knee, bring the hips up, bring the hands in. Slide butt back. Top of the knee, top of the rib. Shoulders always back. That keeps me in control of the bar. Try not to grab with your fists. Try and use your back and your shoulders.
Take a 20-second rest in 4, 3, 2, 1.
Cool. This time, bar on the back, down, halfway, down, all the way up.
Get ready.
Back squat and
4,
pulse.
3, 2,
Good.
1.
So down, pause, hip rise, pause, down, stand, bend knee at the top, no looking out.
Halfway there.
Fantastic for the legs, this one. It's almost like you've got your band on. It's that little pulse
Take a
movement there.
20-second rest in 4, 3, 2, 1.
In the warm-up, we did the lateral squat side to side. We're back to that one. Feet hip distance apart. step out, lower, step together. So we're pushing off the outside of the leg.
4, 3, 2, 1.
From the angle, you see the muscles that are going to work. It's the side of the leg, side of the butt, and it's also muscles at the side of the waist. Find you losing balance, back to regular squat. Push off the heel, land the flat foot.
Take a 20-second rest. In 4, 3, 2, 1.
This is the hardest one. Why am I saying that? Because there's a 45-second rest coming straight after. 4 parts. Hands, hips, thumbs touching, up, back and around, bar on the hip crease, not holding it, tipping over. We got the 1, down, stand to press, bar to chest, and then dip and roll. 45, take out the press if you need. Good to go. Good to go.
Get ready. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Having the elbows forward, bars in control.
Halfway there.
So the bar's got to go up. Starts on the heel and ends at the tummy.
Take a 45-second rest. In 4, 3, 2, 1.
Right up. Don't be fooled by the grey skies, it's quite warm here. So quite literally halfway through the workout now. Every single move we've done so far, we're going to do in round 3 and 4. So we spoke about the drop set. Drop set literally means intensity is harder. We drop the intensity to allow us to train for a little bit longer. Some people love this kind of training because as you start to fatigue, it allows you to keep going for slightly longer than you thought. So we'll always start with the harder move if you can. If you only get 1 rep in, that's totally cool. If you need to reduce after 1 or 2 reps, do so. If you need to put the bar down and do lunges or squats with no bar, that's great. If pushing the bars overhead is too much, either come down to push up or just squat where we are. I'll start the music. It's about 30 seconds to go. We're going to start with the squat, bar to the front, press the bar overhead, and think here like you imagine you're pushing something away. If we're good, we'll go. Sophie, I need a picture of your bar afterwards, so I know what you should be lifting, Sophie. And you. Okay, bar up, front of the shoulder, feet outside of hips, press the bar ahead.
Your training continues. In 4, 3, 2, 1.
Look slightly forward. Try not to look down. Imagine you're looking over the screen. From here, hold the bar. Just the squat. Just the squat. That keeps you in control.
Take a 20-second rest. In 4, 3, 2,
1. Row. 1. Pull. It's all in the hip. So it's great for your back
Get
and
ready.
your butt.
4, 3, 2, 1.
The idea here, make the back do the work. Elbows in, tip, elbows in, elbows up.
Halfway there.
Just 2 rows. 1, 2, stand, tip.
Take a 20-second rest. In 4, 3, 2, 1.
Maybe you need to shake it out, then meet the bar on the back. Into the squat phase. Down,
Get
pop the
ready.
heels and lift the calf.
4, 3, 2, 1.
This will help you feel powerful, coming off the ground slightly. Suck the belly, squeeze the butt. And with the tunes, imagine you're on holiday.
Halfway there.
Now the pulse. Down, halfway. Down, all the way. Changing the front of the legs.
Take a 20-second rest. In 4, 3, 2, 1.
Recover. So a little shake into the side to side, pushing the outside of the foot back to center.
Get ready. 4, 3, 2, 1.
If you're with the kettlebell, hug it tight, clamp it to the chest. Now, just down and up. Down and up. Lift it over the kettlebell or the plate. Always soften the knee, no lock.
Take a 20-second rest. In 4, 3, 2, 1.
One more, the big movement, then the rest. Hang, clean,
Get ready.
squat, and press.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Quite literally every muscle in the body. No more press.
Halfway there.
Hang, clean, squat, stand, reset. Just one more, yeah?
Take a 45-second rest. In 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, almost there. 3 rounds in, 1 round to go. So we know the movements now. You know what you can do to reduce. I'll give you some ideas now to intensify some of the moves. Doesn't mean faster. Sometimes it means slower. And really think about the muscles doing the work. By definition, weight training is going to raise the heart rate, but it's easy to take out the movement that's going to create different change because your heart rate's too high. So sometimes doing 1 or 2 reps, having a pause, 1 or 2 more good reps will give us a different kind of change than it would do doing a faster base class. Yeah? What's good about doing weight training though, and getting a moderately high heart rate, is that the muscles are going to repair, and that also helps to burn calories as well. So hopefully I've sold it to you. So if you can, keep the same weights as you did before. If you find going above the head isn't happening, please take it out, particularly if the bar starts to wobble. And if we're good to go, we'll go. First one, squat and press for 20, followed by bar to front or bar to back for 20. Stephen, I hope you're just doing it, not just sat there watching, mate. We'll turn the music up a little bit as well. Bar to the front, feet outside of hips. We're going to stand, drive it overhead, and smile every time.
Your training continues in 4, 3, 2, 1.
So strong hip. Start strong. Push out the heel. Punch knuckles overhead. Last one. Just the squat.
Halfway there.
So lift the chin. Lift your elbow. Squeeze your bum. Squeeze your belly button.
Take a 20-second rest in 4, 3, 2, 1.
Shake out. Back to hip distance. Back to the hang. Clean. Lunge. Step. Lunge.
Get ready.
Step.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Just one more. Bar to the back.
Halfway there.
Feet hip distance. Lower. And step. Keep your feet close to the floor. Almost a slide.
Take a 20-second rest in 4, 3, 2, 1.
Little dip. Push. Hands wide if you can. One in. One out.
Get ready.
You ready, Sophie?
4, 3, 2, 1.
Almost like we're jumping without leaving the floor. Make ourselves tall.
Halfway there.
Just the rope. The bar is moving in a straight line. That's great for our strength. Improving the strength.
Take a 20-second rest in 4, 3, 2, 1.
All of the leg training now. Biggest muscles in the body, legs in the butt.
Get
Squat,
ready.
come to toes.
4, 3, 2, 1.
So the hips need to stay back as we come up. We're trying not to buckle the body. If you need, just stand.
Halfway there.
Let's have the pulse. There, all the way up. Pulling the bar in, elbows back and down.
Take a 20-second rest in 4, 3, 2, 1.
know some of you out there are racing me. I know you are. You don't have to, it's fine. Just the squat. Look up, sit, stand. Look up, sit, stand.
Take a 20-second rest. In 4, 3, 2, 1.
Nice. Little dip, press, bar down, give yourself a shake. So the last time we paused the music, before the last one, I explained what we were going to do. I'm going to do that again. So we've got 2 workouts to go. This one is 40 seconds. The last one will take as long as it takes you. So let's think about this 40 seconds then. We know it's the last one. We know it's 4 parts. Hang, clean, squat, press overhead, reset, hang. So, we know we're going to use the shoulders, we're going to use the upper back, we're going to use the mid back, we're going to use the legs, we're going to use the bum. Don't worry about how many you do here. Think each time you're moving, this is the final workout on the bar, and it's going to work every muscle. Hopefully the heart rate's come down a little bit. You've had the opportunity to wipe your hands. And then when we start, think how good you can look. Think how good you can look. So if someone was watching you, they'd be like, yeah, that person there, hang clean, squat press, awesome, all over it. Everyone good? We'll go. Feet under the bar, lift the chest,
Get ready.
sit, hands, stand,
4, 3,
ready to go.
2, 1.
Think how empowering to press the bar above your head.
Halfway there.
No more press. Sit, stand, release. Sit, stand, release. Just one more, I think.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Time.
Your workout is complete. Well done.
Okay, excellent training, well done. If you've got a towel, you might have to give yourself a wipe. No, Sophie, not Gary's bar. In fact, to be fair, you should have a similar bar to what Gary has. Should do. So, that's the main workout complete. I hope you got something from it. Now, because it's going to get saved up in the group here, it means that you can do it in your own time. If you've got any questions afterwards, you can either ask them in the group, ask Sophie so you can forward them to me, or if you can find me online, you can ask me direct, so I've got no problem with that. So the last one we're going to do then, I always finish my barbell workouts with a push-up challenge. So some of you have seen the 25 push-ups for 25 days that Instagram and Facebook's been doing. So I know. So we're starting with 10 today. So we did some in the warm-up. I'm going to demonstrate a couple here just so you can get confident in the movement. And then we'll do 10 good ones in our own time. I've got to be quick here because I've got flipping loads of electricity out in the garden and it's starting to rain in Nottingham. So, to be successful in a push-up, you need 2 things. First one is hands slightly wider than shoulders. And then what helps most people, if they spread their fingers almost like a spider shape to allow the whole of the palm into the floor. Now you can be knees or toes, whatever works for you, but what helps most people is putting their knees same distance as their hips, and then their hands slightly forward where their shoulders will be. So from the angle, hips up, knees, push them apart, push them back slightly, hands slightly forward of the shoulder, and I'm going to use my towel as a guide for my eyes. Sometimes it helps younger people to put their phone there and they'll watch the screen as they come up and down. So you might have noticed my body's moving slightly forward and back. That's because we're going to push ourselves away like we would push a bar or push somebody away, not just up and down. Pushing up and down, we tend to do this motion, whereas you want to imagine that we're rolling forward onto thigh and rolling back off the thigh. And if you're on your toes, it's exactly the same thing. So feet about the distance of your hands apart, and as we go down, look slightly forward and down. Go as low as you need to do, bearing in mind that when we come up, we're trying to keep the body still without trying to wave about. If we're good, we'll go. We won't have any music. I'll just say go. And when you've done 10, that's us done. Everyone good? 4, 3, 2, and let's go. So my elbows are going to come out slightly and then back slightly. And I'm going to push out of the palm and the heel of the hand. If you find you can't do them on the toe, you can lower down to knee and then just push away. In between here is to lower, push your toes in the floor, lift the knees, and then come up. So I'll go down, knees, push. Lift the knees, lower down, knees down, and push. I think I got 5 more. When you're finished, give us a wave on the screen or something to let us know that you're done. It's not a race. I wouldn't quite say ridiculous, Sinead. Finish your push-ups yet, Sophie? Finish your push-ups yet? Well done, Anne. Anne, you were first. Sophie and Sophie, you were almost at the same time there. Well done, Diane. So the push-ups there, it's awesome work that you can do at any time. You've all got equipment in the house that you can use to make push-ups slightly easier, slightly harder. The most obvious one is to put your hands on something slightly raised. And then if you lower down and push away, it's imagine that you're using the front of the body. Thank you, Anne. Thank you. I really, really appreciate that. If you want more, please tell Sophie, and Sophie will tell me. And then we'll try to make it so the schedules work out. I'm conscious that some people only have a kettlebell or a plate. And as you saw, I've got both. So if people want just a plate workout, we can do that. Sometimes the plate workouts will work really good for those of you who have got bands. So the booty bands, they work really good with that. If you've got a kettlebell, again, the kettlebell is an awesome piece of equipment. Just take a little bit more control. And again, that helps with the supporting muscles. If you really liked it, please tell Sophie. If you hated it, please find me on the internet and tell me why, and I'll make it better for you next time. If we're all good, I'll press finish. Thank you very much for all your time.